Hey, this is Joe from Home Studio Corner. Do you know the difference between 50 hertz and 100 hertz? If your answer is that the difference is 50, you would be correct. Mathematically, yes. 50 plus 50 is 100. However, the difference between 50 and 100 hertz isn't the same as the difference between 10,000 hertz and 10,050 hertz. Yes, there's a 50 hertz difference, but 10K to 10.05K, imperceptible. 50 to 100 hertz, night and day. And if in your mind 50 and 100 are the same, hopefully this video will help nudge you in the right direction because they could not be more different. What do I mean by that? Well, before I dive in and explain more, let's do a little listening test, shall we? I've got a basic kick drum here. This is from a live recording. This is the raw kick drum with nothing on it. Here's what that sounds like. Now, I've got an EQ set up on this track on another screen that you can't see, and I've got two boosts set up, one at 50 hertz and one at 100 hertz. I'm going to engage one of those boosts now and guess which one it is, okay? Here we go. Okay, which one did you guess? Was that 50 or 100? If you guessed 50, you would be absolutely wrong. That was 100 hertz. Here's what 50 sounds like. All right, let's listen to that one more time, but now I'll let you see what's going on. As you can see, I've got two boosts here. They're 12 dB boosts. The Q is set to 3, so it's fairly wide. Here is the 100 hertz boost. And here is the 50 hertz boost. Now, if you're listening on small speakers, headphones, or like on your phone or laptop, you probably don't hear the low one, the 50 hertz one. But if you listen on headphones or on nice studio speakers, you will hear a difference. And what I hear is 100 hertz sounds like my buddy Ian Shepherd says, like a hooting frequency. That's just jumping out at me. The 50 hertz is big, deep, low end, almost low end that you more feel than hear. So what brought this to mind? This morning, I shot this video, I was doing a private production critique for a client of mine, someone who took my recording course, and one of the tiers offers a free production critique. So he sent me his entire Studio One session. I opened it up, went through, listened to all the tracks, listened to the mix, and gave a bunch of feedbacks. Really fun. But one of the things I noticed was as soon as I hit play on the entire mix, this is the sound I was getting from the kick drum right here. And it was kind of permeating the entire mix. The whole mix had that woo, woo, woo sort of a sound to it because of the kick drum. It turns out this person had boosted 100 hertz, and it actually cut everything below it. So everything like below 70 hertz was rolled off, and there was a big honking boost at 100 hertz. Now, my guess is he just wanted to boost the low end. He wanted a big, beefy kick drum, and he had this misconception about low end. This used to be me. I was the same guy who thought if you said, what's 100 hertz sound like? I'd say, boom, sounds like that. And then if you said, what's 50 hertz sound like? I'd say, boom, just maybe a little bit lower. In my mind, they're maybe just a little different. But in the same ballpark. But they're not. They're very different. In fact, 100 hertz is double the frequency of 50. It is an octave higher than 50. That's how frequencies work. If 50 is one note, then 100 is a complete octave higher. When you get up in the higher frequencies, if it's 5,000 hertz, you got to go all the way to 10,000 hertz to go up a full octave. That's why our brains are a little bit tricky. There's a lot of difference in tone between 5K and 10K. There's a lot there. 5K is a little more like the crunch on guitars. 10K is like the air in a vocal, and there's a lot in between. Between 50 and 100, just in our brains doesn't seem like there'd be that much difference, but it's also a full octave between. So if we think boosting 100 and boosting 50, it's, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. It's not. It's a very, very different thing. And we tend to make these mistakes specifically in the low frequencies. Yes, they're both low, but they're very different low. To me, 100 is entering low mid territory where like a lot of mud can live. 50 is firmly down in the low end, the sub bass, the low end that you feel in a mix. Okay? Two very different things. So what's the takeaway? Here's my homework to you. If you find this exercise a little confusing, you don't quite hear the difference, or you say to me, I get this all the time, Joe, I don't hear the stuff that you hear. The only reason I hear it, I don't have golden ears. They're normal. I get ear infections every once in a while. They're not perfect. But I can hear these differences because I've immersed myself in it. Tens of thousands of hours listening to these things, I've started to pick them out. Just like whatever field you work in, let's say you're an accountant, and you pull up a spreadsheet of my taxes, you can quickly point, your eye is drawn to the right things. You know what questions to ask. You know which things look weird and which things seem right. It's like that with me in mixing. I've just done this so much. I hear something that goes like this, and I think something's wrong down around 100 hertz. That's just what happens. And it's not that you need 10,000 hours to get there. You just need to spend a little more time getting familiar with it. And the best way to do that is pull up a song and grab an EQ and just boost different frequencies, especially down in the lows. Do it on individual tracks like kick drum and bass guitar and guitars and vocals, or pull in an entire mix of your favorite song and boost down at 50. What's down there? Not a lot. Going to be the kick drum and some of the bass for the most part. That might be about it. And then when you get to 100, what's there? A lot more bass, a lot more of the drums and some of the guitars, that kind of whoa, whoa, whoa. That can be muddy if there's too much, but without it, the mix feels dead and has no life to it. So it's an important set of frequencies. We just want, as with all things, we want there to be balance. And you can, the same is true for the mid-range and the high end, but I feel the low end is probably where things are most mistaken, where we tend to make the biggest mistakes of saying, 50, 100, give me a boost at 50 or 100, no big deal. There's a big deal. That's a whole octave difference. That's the difference between and like that's, my throat had to do different things to go from down here to up here, that's a big difference in frequencies. So to lump them into one category is folly. So go do some exercises, go practice listening, and then when you get to your next mix, you'll be a little better prepared to hear what the problems are and to know where to go to fix them. And that's all mixing is, right? We get raw tracks, we fix the problems until it sounds great. It's an oversimplification, but it's also kind of true. All right, if you have any questions on this, leave a comment below. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would be honored if I could have your subscription. Click that button wherever it is on your screen. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.